The views expressed on this episode, as with all episodes of We Hate Your Baby Daddy, are based solely on our personal opinions and shit we heard in the streets.
The content here should not be taken as indisputable fact. This show is for entertainment purposes only, so enjoy and don't come for us.
Welcome back to another episode of We Hate Your Baby Daddy with Bree and D.
Hello, hello.
And on this episode, it's our 20th episode. We are going to talk about the KarJenner baby daddies. It's going to end up being a two-parter because they roll deep, all right? Like they roll really deep. So we'll get into that. But before we talk about the KarJenner baby daddies, wanted to take some time to read our polls that our faithful, loyal listeners have been voting in. Starting with our very first episode, which was about Elon Musk. So the poll question was Elon Musk versus Mark Zuckerberg, who's winning? And the choices were Elon Robo-Dick Musk or Mark Jiu-Jitsu Daddy Zuckerberg. And 100% of people voted that Mark Zuckerberg would win if they fought.
He's gonna beat his ass. I'm really disappointed that never happened. He pulled out because he was scared of the mark.
I think once he responded so readily that he was down, Elon was like, "Oh, never mind." That the response, him being so ready to go, it was
Mark
too
stood
much.
10 toes down. Yeah, he was scared of his
No
ass.
hesitation. And so our next poll was actually a similar question. This was on the We Hate Thomas Jefferson episode. We asked who would win in a fight, Thomas Jefferson or John Adams? 67% voted that John Adams would beat Thomas Jefferson in a fight. I would have loved to see that.
They should have had a duel back then, but I don't think they allowed them. It was just
Yeah, I don't think duels were ever legal. People were just doing them.
they were like, you can't fucking do that. Like, you guys are the founding fathers. Like, chill out. You're setting an example here.
Right? Like, have some decency.
How dare you, sir?
In our next episode, which was about Donald Trump, we asked, if you died, do you think your baby daddy would marry you on a golf course? And it was split.
If I could afford one, I think he would put me on the plot. He'd put me in the first hole.
Yeah, probably same. It was actually split 50-50. Said 50% said yes, 50% said no. But yeah, my baby daddy definitely would.
Didn't I say that like he couldn't afford one, so he'd probably I don't know, put my ashes in like a goldfish bowl or something?
Right, you did say that in that episode.
That would be the best. He'd put me on like the kitchen table.
No, my baby daddy's so obsessed with me still. He would probably you know what? Never mind. I was gonna say something terrible. He would just want to keep my remains. He would keep my remains in his home, like in an urn, just so I'd be around him all the time for the rest of my life with no choice. That would be what he would want to do.
Putting he would infuse your remains in like a dumbbell or something.
Yeah, so he could just lift me all the time.
Yeah, I'll lift you one last time, babe.
God, so disturbing. Our next episode, We Hate Kevin Butterline. We asked, which K-Fed baby mama would you rather be between Shar Jackson, Britney Spears, Victoria Prince, or having a hysterectomy? And it was actually a split 50-50 between Shar Jackson and hysterectomy. I'm surprised. Yeah, nobody wants to be Britney Spears. Not to be mean. I love her.
I do.
I don't think anybody, you want to be her right now? Did you see her most recent video with the devil horns?
I mean, they're all pretty much the same. She's spinning around in her living room half naked. Of course.
She has a pitchfork and devil horns and a little red. It's like a devil costume, just spinning around, looking haunted as fuck behind the eyes.
I mean, I prefer the one where she had the knives. That was hilarious.
I did like that one. And then she's like, they're prop knives. And then I was like, but then why did you cut yourself on them if they're prop knives?
She's like, don't worry about it.
Don't mind your business. I'm not in the conservatorship anymore. I don't have to tell anyone anything.
Strangely, Jack, don't worry about it.
That is exactly how she speaks. In our next episode of We Hate Your Baby Daddy, it was We Hate Larry Hillblom. And we asked, is Larry Hillblom dead or alive? The options were he's definitely alive, he's definitely dead, or he's in purgatory. 100% said that he's definitely alive. I believe that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
really believe that he is still alive.
He's in a rice paddy somewhere.
I'm sure. I mean, haunting it, like trawling for kids. Um, when we talked about y'all's baby daddies, we had our special episode about how much we hate y'all's baby daddies. We asked who was the worst baby daddy from the episode. We had Walmart Jason Momoa, Red Snow, and the African, who is my mom's baby daddy. 100% voted that Red Snow was the worst. The little short ginger cokehead.
Yeah, he like kept on with our theme of cocaine and crack. So thank you for
He
that.
started
And
it off, actually, because I don't think
yeah,
prior
he
to that,
did.
I don't think we
There
mentioned
was
crack
no
at all.
yeah. Yeah, thank you for that.
Oh, thank you, Red Snow. That's
Check
one
your blood
useful thing.
pressure.
And our next episode, which was We Hate Henry VIII, we asked, do you like the historical baby daddy episodes? Yep, I love them, or no, it's not for me, sis. 100% said they love them.
As
Yay,
do
we could do
I.
another one. I love them too. In We Love Your Baby Mama featuring the Red Scare, we asked, do you love this shit? Are you high right now? Do you ever get nervous? And the options were, hell yeah, fucking right. Or what the fuck does this mean? Question mark, question mark. 80% said, hell yeah, fucking right. So I said,
I
hell
was in the
yeah.
20. No, I was in the
Huh?
20. I was scared. I was in the 20. I was
You were
scared.
in the 20. You were probably the whole time I was like,
Yeah.
she's gonna be so grossed out with us sitting here boo loving. Like she's like walk off the show.
I was neutral. I get so tired of like dating horror stories just to see something that wasn't
Oh,
like
that's
somebody
true.
getting like throttled or
That
abused.
is
I'm like,
true.
this is pleasant.
It was very sweet.
Yeah.
In our next
Shout out to
episode
Red
was
Scare.
the boyfriend of the show. So in our next episode with the real Philly Deadbeats featuring Spring and Key, that is my favorite episode. That was so fucking funny. They're like
I
so
know. I still love
unintentionally
them.
hilarious. They're so funny. We
Literally everybody here needs to go follow them. They are so fucking funny.
Yes,
There was
absolutely.
actually me and Bree were watching Key's summary of
Oh
Meatball's
God,
recent
about
fight.
Meatballs. I was crying. She is hilarious. Um, okay, who was the wildest Philly deadbeat from the episode? DJ Bleep, Hoochie Daddy, or Jazz, who was not a man but was a deadbeat. 50% said DJ Bleep, 50% said Jazz. I mean, the last one was crazy, Jazz.
Jazz was actually very sad. I'm surprised nobody voted for Hoochie Daddy. That was a man that put boxers up his ass and twerked. I guess maybe you guys
And
didn't
we
see the
posted that.
visual.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
probably
we
didn't go to
posted that.
Instagram and see the video.
That was the first video that I sent to Bree to introduce her to the real Philly Deadbeat. She was like, "What the fuck is this date?"
What
I'm
is
like, "Oh, this is what we do in Philly.
and
Is
there
you go
was
to
no
clear talk to them,
context.
no
There was no
context.
context.
It's like 11 o'clock at night. She's probably like up with her kid, like, gee, what was that?
Was like I just couldn't stop watching because I'm like, what am I seeing right now? I'm like, is this a man in a shiesty twerking with the
Oh yeah.
boxers pulled up in his ass crack like a thong? And that's
And
exactly
it
what it
wasn't
was.
like a man twerk, like he was making that thing. Like it was,
It
yeah.
wasn't bad. The
Guys,
ability.
watch that episode, please.
Please, please. You
Oh,
gotta
and
see what
follow
we
Real
saw.
Philly Deadbeat. It was so fucking funny.
In this episode, or in the next episode, which was We Hate Offset, we asked, which was your favorite part of the episode? And the options were Dee's impression of Offset, Offset versus the rental car, Slutty Teen Dad, or other. And 50% said Offset versus the rental car, 50% said Slutty Teen Dad.
He was a slutty teen dad.
He was a whore, a whore. We Hate Hugh Hefner, we asked, what is your honest opinion about porn? And the options were it ruins lives, and I don't mind it. 75% said that it ruins lives. So I'm glad people are like catching on.
It's gross.
It is. And you can see how Marston Hefner has turned out. Turned all the way out.
Popping that pussy all the way.
Bro, when you see that picture, I'm like, I have to go get a new phone because my phone has touched this photo and
Another
it's
picture I saw
soiled
with
now.
no context. He just busted all open. And then he was in a jean skirt with a pug staring at him, and the pug hated
Oh
it
my
too.
God. And I was like, I have that same skirt, never wore it again. Can't do it. In the episode about Blueface, Tristan Thompson, and Darius Jackson, we asked, do you feel like the patriarchy perpetuates abuse against women? Yes, absolutely, or no, and I'm an idiot in parentheses. 100% voted yes, it does.
Yeah.
In the episode about Nick Cannon, we asked, is it possible for Nick to have real relationships with all 12 of his kids? The options were there's no way, maybe, or sure I could see that. 100% said there's no way because there's just not. 12 kids, every
And they're
Christmas.
everywhere. They're not even in one
Right.
place.
And they're all over California. That's a big state. Like, there's just no way. In the episode, We Hate Our Own Baby Daddies, we asked, if you were in a bar fight and you had to choose a host baby daddy to fight for you, who would you choose? PCS, Junkie Crashy, or nah, I'll just get whooped. 56% said nah, I'll just get whooped.
Nobody wanted mine.
Girl, yeah, you had one vote for Party City Skeleton. I feel like
That
you
one
wouldn't be.
vote was me.
Girl, I saw that video of him squaring up with that squirrel, so I just could not see him in a bar fight.
You guys won't see that. That's exclusive content.
Junkie Crashy lives for bar fights, so
I would imagine. Yeah,
loves
no. I
him.
mean, he's fought before.
He does. Oh, who? Party City Skeleton?
Yeah, but he doesn't fight fair. I would just go and
Couldn't.
don't challenge him to a fight. You're not coming out whole.
Oh my
Definitely
God.
don't.
That's terrifying. In the episode, We Hate Stephen Hawking, we asked, do you think Stephen Hawking was on Jeffrey Epstein's island? The options were definitely or no, probably not. 80% said definitely. I think he was. I mean, why would somebody lie about that, That would be a really bizarre lie.
Were there ramps?
There had to have been. They probably put him in there just for him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You
That would
know,
be like conclusive evidence for me.
all those people were like sex predators and pedophiles, but I don't think they were ableist. So sure.
You're going to hell.
I'm going straight to hell. In the
You're going to hell.
episode, We Hate Boosie Badass. Yes, if Boosie Badass offered you $1,000 to show him your junk on IG Live, would you do it? Absolutely not. Or $1,000 is $1,000. So yes, 60% said absolutely not. I personally wouldn't.
Cowards.
But they don't even smoke.
Yeah, cowards. It's $1,000 is $1,000. You guys have done stranger things for less change.
I guess
fuck
all
outta
of our
here.
listeners are rich as fuck, so
Just showing it. They didn't even say you had to like keep it on the screen. It's a little flash for Boosie.
flash.
Come on.
You might get banned, but $1,000. I wonder if he ever even paid those women.
I feel like he would keep his word because then he would be like, I don't know, that's a street cred thing.
That's true. You don't want people saying I showed my penis to Boosie Badass and he didn't even pay me. All right.
Get mad.
In the episode, We Hate Chris Brown, we said, so is it crack or meth? The options were he's giving crack energy, meth head for sure, or neither, just quirky. 60% said he's giving crack energy. So I agree. I think it's
voted
crack too.
meth. I think
You
it's
voted
meth
meth?
because like the way that his face is just like singing
Yeah.
now.
And
crack-
sometimes it's not. Sometimes you see him, he looks healthy. And sometimes you see him, he looks like that, sunken in cheeks.
See, crack is a steady decline over a couple decades. Like crackheads don't wake up one day and look horrible. That's meth.
That's very true, actually. You're right. You know what? I wish I could go back and change my.
See, this is the benefit of being a Philadelphian. I know my drugs.
You do know your drug and the drug effect. In We Hate Aubrey Graham, Drake in parentheses. Which of Drake's vegan beefs is most hilarious? Common, Tyga, Diddy, Chris Brown, Meek Mill, Pusha T, or Brandy? 63% voted Brandy. You. He's not
Colin
quite
was
even with us,
hilarious.
yes. Common was so funny. What did he call him? Canada Dry?
Canada Dry. Then he called him a Frank Sinatra ass nigga, which was just
Saying too much on the songs. Common. And then in our latest episode, We Hate Jackie Chan, we asked, what do you all think Jackie Chan loves more? Blackjack and hookers, throwing toddlers, alcohol, or the CCP? 60% said blackjack and hookers. See that?
correct.
He loves it. And that's been our polls. Thank you guys for voting. We have polls in every single episode. So please vote. And you can also leave a little Q&A response. Just let us know, like, what do you think about the episode? What do you like? What do you want to hear more of? And leave us a review while you're there. You're already there. It's your world. Do what you want.
So don't just vote in the polls. Leave us a comment. We love the engagement. It gives us also something else to talk about other than just talking shit about these people.
That's right. We want to have like lots of engagement with our fans. Want to keep the show going. We want to know that you love us like we love you.
We talk back.
Yeah, talk to us. We talk back. All right. So now let's get into the episode. So, part 1, the KarJenners. The KarJenner baby daddies. I like how you put the origins.
The origin. Because it goes back.
So,
And it starts with baby mama number 1.
the OG.
Chris Jong-un. Don't sue me.
Chris Bleep. So, let's talk about the matriarch. So, Kris Jenner was born Kristen Mary Houghton on November 5th, 1955. She's 68 now. She's born in San Diego. She is not, and I repeat, not Armenian. And there's always people saying like, oh, you know, she's got that tan. It's a fake tan. She's not Armenian. That is a 100% white woman. She grew up comfortable, middle class. She's known for the bob, the hair, the bob. She was raised by her mom, who goes by MJ Shannon, after her parents divorced when she was 7, due to her father, Robert Houghton, being extremely toxic and an alcoholic, relatable. And he died in a drunken head-on car accident when she was 19. MJ was allegedly notorious for pimping Kris out, which I did not know, purposely putting her in situations to marry and be intimately involved with rich older men. And Kris Jenner is known to be very calculated with every move she makes, and many owe this to being raised and groomed by her mother, MJ. And she continued that same tradition with her daughters, like pimping them out, putting them in these situations. I mean, as we can see. MJ also set her up to attend parties where she knew wealthy older men would be when she was like a young teen. And family friends allegedly rumored that Kris was an escort around this time. And this was before she was even in her 20s. She dated a guy named Cesar Sanudo, a wealthy pro golfer. She was engaged to him, and she was a senior in high school at 17 years old. He was 30. Then she cheated on him with Robert Kardashian, and she was living with Cesar Sanudo. And while he was on tour golfing, she was hooking up with Rob in the house they lived in together. And so her placement in wealthy circles led her to meet many rich men, the most notorious being her first baby daddy and husband, Robert Kardashian.
So yeah, that's kind of messed up though, isn't it? But it's kind of predictable.
Yeah, I mean, we see how she is with her kids. She learned it from the OG. MJ, is it MJ? Does it stand for Mary Jane? I actually don't know what MJ stands for.
I mean, I looked it up, but it was like kind of long, so I think I just kept it to MJ because nobody calls her anything but MJ.
Right.
So it's kind of irrelevant. MJ did what she had to do, and now she's just sitting there, and I think like Malibu, being pampered,
Being old and pampered.
old and pampered. All right, so it's very, very convenient that Chris met Rob. Um, she met him when she was 17. She hadn't even graduated high school yet, and Robert was 28. And again, Robert was kind of known in the area, like he came from money, and she met him at a horse track. So she was bouncing back and forth between Caesar and Rob. And while she was doing that, Rob was just like, well, make up your mind. And he dates Priscilla Presley.
Wasn't
Sidelines, kind of,
Priscilla Presley was probably pretty young too,
I
and he
think
dated
so
her.
around this time. Yeah. Like mind you, when Priscilla Presley started dating Elvis, she was like 14.
14.
So yeah, she was a young chicken. Really
Disgusting.
gross. But I mean, like, Rob isn't innocent in this either. Like, I think they said that Rob got her phone number at that racetrack from his friend. Again, he was affluent. He had a connection from his friend at the phone company. And
Are
that's how
you
he got the
serious?
yeah, that's how we got Chris's number.
That's so creepy. Why didn't he just ask her?
So yeah, so she cheats on Caesar with Rob, and
She
Rob
saw
is
that
tired of
come up.
Priscilla. Yeah, she was like, I've seen better money. And eventually they married in 1978 when she was 23 and he was 34. They were
Big
married for
nasty.
13 years until 1991. So Robert grew up in View Park in LA, which is like a really affluent neighborhood there. Again, he came from money. He's the Armenian American one. He's not like fresh off the boat either. Like his parents were, I think, the first generation immigrants. And he was wealthy and established businessman and lawyer in his own right. And fun fact, he came up with the idea of playing music between movies and theaters. He
Hmm.
also owned like a frozen yogurt company. Like the man had money. It was pretty okay. And he was a pretty good lawyer.
Yeah, he defended
So
OJ.
yeah, yeah. I mean, pretty well too. Like I think we all know the story, don't we?
Yeah. The reason why we're all here today in this reality is because of this infamous uh union between Chris and Robert.
Yeah. So in the marriage, it wasn't exactly happy. Chris was a notorious adulterer. Like she already started this relationship off by cheating in the engagement with him. So I don't really know what he expected.
He was probably like, well, I'm a big boss. She's not gonna cheat on me. I ain't no golfer.
No, she had affairs with many, many men. So her affairs allegedly,
Allegedly. Shit we heard in the
allegedly,
streets. It should not be taken as
shit
indisputable
we heard in the
facts.
streets. Actually, shit we heard from people very close to her.
They're in the streets. We're in the streets. It's a big street, you know?
People in her house on the street. The number one that we all know, OJ Simpson, who was the best man at their wedding. I did not know that. I thought that was hilarious. That was
Damn.
Rob's best fucking friend.
I didn't know
And
that.
Caesar Sanudo's family actually confirms this because she was still talking to Caesar while she was married to Rob. We don't know if they were still
Wow.
blinking. She was still talking to him.
Probably.
And many believe this to be Chloe's true father. Actually, Rob said himself, he was like, he didn't even know who Chloe's father was because he wasn't intimate with Chris when Chloe was
Oh
conceived.
God. You know, Chloe would be so happy if that was the truth. And she could actually be a black woman and not just try to like steal everything from us.
I think she will be like 50-50 because then she'll be like, no, they actually made me an outsider because I'm actually not his. I don't know. Chloe's such a victim, but
Yeah,
yeah.
she is.
But she actually outwardly denies this, even though people are like, no, we saw you in OJ. But yeah. She was also best friends with his murdered wife, Nicole.
Right, Nicole Brown.
Yep.
She's
And,
like a big
you
time
know,
hoe.
I mean, that's just Chris. And this Her next affair was with Todd Waterman. This is a very long affair that they've had. He was a soccer player. She banged him in her friend's closet after a 10 years of marriage with Robert. In one instance, he slept in Rob's bed after fucking his wife while their kids were home. And mind you, Courtney's old enough to remember this, and she was very, very bitter about that. That's why they do not have a good relationship.
Oh my God. Chris
Um,
really could not control herself.
and Rob was aware of this. He was furious. His widow actually released his diaries, and he wrote in the diary, and I quote, "She doesn't care. She left the kids and screwed all night."
Good Lord. I
Like,
didn't know Robert remarried.
and that's another thing. She really likes to control the narrative. He divorced
Yeah.
her ass over this. He divorced her ass over this. He didn't die while he was married to her.
Oh.
This
I
affair
thought
is what caused their divorce.
I knew they were divorced, but she makes it seem like they got divorced, they still had a good like friendly relationship, and then he died. I didn't
He hated her
know.
ass for that. He had a man
Um,
sleeping in his bed, and he was like bankrolling her life. So yeah,
that's
he was pretty
dirty.
pissed about it. Um. Also, did you also know that this same affair partner, Todd Waterman, he emailed her as recently as the early seasons of Keeping Up with the Kardashians to meet up again with her while she was married to Caitlyn,
Wow.
which pissed Courtney smooth off
I'm sure. I
again.
feel like you traumatized me, bitch.
And Rob, being a fucking lawyer, hired a private detective to follow around everywhere she went, collect pictures, photos, whatever instances of him, her infidelity, and that's what caused her getting divorced. That's what made their
She was
divorce.
like a
She was cheating
wild
on him.
ass animal in these streets, just banging everything.
Third affair was Alex Roldan, Chris's old hairdresser.
Wow.
She neither confirms or denies this, but he strongly favors Chloe. They look very much alike. Um, yeah, she keeps silent on this, but a lot of her friends say yeah, she was banging him too.
Damn. The
And last
hairdresser.
affair partner, she was just she, Chris was wild.
Those some
Last
legs
affair
for a
partner,
minute.
she couldn't between babies. No, she
Couldn't
couldn't.
stop.
And she also cheated on Rob with Bruce slash Caitlyn Jenner. For retrospect, we're just gonna refer to Caitlyn as Bruce when she was
Right, when
Bruce.
she was
Just for
Bruce. Yeah.
yeah, when she was Bruce, it just makes it easier because also when people refer to her during the time that she was Bruce, they just call her Bruce, and when she transitioned into Caitlyn, they call her Caitlyn. It's
Right. And
just
she herself has said that's appropriate and
yeah.
that's how
I
she
think she
wants
like
to be known
clarified.
as. Yeah.
Yeah, she was like, when you refer to me, like my pronouns are she, her, but like when I was Bruce, call me Bruce, but now I'm
Right.
Caitlyn. So that's how we're just
Exactly.
gonna do that from now on.
Yeah.
But yeah. Says she deeply regrets this, but she went on to marry Bruce. It was literally in the final year that they were together and he was filing the papers. She went on a date with Bruce, banged him, 5 months later married him.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's why
It's
people
hard to
say the
find
double works hard, but Kris Jenner works harder. And I can see she was working hard. Yeah.
it don't stop. And it was like really hard to find any other info on the affairs because when Kris Jenner doesn't want you to know something, you will not know it. She has like a stranglehold on media. And I admire her for that. I admire her for that very well because like the woman has no marketable skills. Like she really didn't have a job. She was like a what
Professional
was
wife,
it? A professional wife. Yeah. I think she did like what do
socialite.
the people do
What
when they're like
people?
on the planes?
Oh,
It was
like a
like her only
stewardess?
job. Yeah, that was it. That was the only thing she
Oh,
did for
I
like a
didn't even know
year.
she
And
did
then she was
that.
like, yeah, she did that for like 1 year. And then she's like, fuck this. I'm going to get married. And she did.
She's like,
So
fuck
she made
working.
things happen. Yeah.
Relatable.
So Kanye, when he screams like, Kris controls the media. She controls the
Right?
media. I was actually screaming that while trying to research her affairs. Because, yeah, she scrubs getting it
Kris
clean.
controls the media.
He's just like, ah. Full on, I
Oh
was full
man.
of yay in here. I was
It's like
screaming.
people think he's crazy and he is, don't get me wrong. But that part was true. She does control the meeting.
Yeah. She
Everything else, no. But that, yes.
So yeah, they had a very bitter marriage and a nasty divorce, no matter how Chris paints it. Like Chris calls him daddy in retrospect. Rob fucking hated her. He
Wow.
cheated on him all the time. And she cared more about money and getting banged than raising the kids. And the older kids actually deeply resent her for this, especially Courtney. Like I said, Courtney remembers it all.
That explains a
She,
lot because the two younger ones like love her. Like I think her favorite one is Kylie. And they're always making a joke about it. And it's like, but it's obvious the other kids are like, ugh, you're annoying.
yeah, I say Courtney and Chloe feel the most bitterness towards it. Kim is kind of like a robot. She doesn't really give a shit, but
Yeah, she's like, you
Courtney
made me
feels the most
famous,
rage
so
about it. Yeah, actually, there was like a physical fight that Courtney had with her when she was a teenager. She like clawed the hell out of her. She still has a scar on her arm because
damn.
she wasn't treating her
Maybe
father well
beating
while he
each
was
other
sick.
up.
Courtney's an Aries, so I feel like she
Relatable.
was spreading dangerously. Yeah, she beat her ass.
You can't push us that far. We will beat your ass.
No. So yeah, Rob used his wealth and his influence to kind of ruin her life for like constantly cheating on him. He canceled all of her credit cards. They had no prenup. Why would you cheat on a fucking celebrity lawyer?
Yeah, damn, they didn't have a prenup.
Very unwise. And she said at one point she could barely afford groceries. She was borrowing money from her friends just to make ends meet. That's pretty much it. She asked Robert for $40,000 a month for child support. Did not get it. Rob said, fuck you. Again, this man is a really brilliant lawyer. He whittled her down to $4,000 a month.
Damn, four
And do you
kids
know
they
how much
had
money?
together.
And do you know how much money that Rob was making
How
to
much?
get $4,000 a month? I mean, there was no like solid figures, but to
Oh
ask
yeah, he
for
was a
forty
millionaire.
thousand a month, yeah, to ask for 40,000 a month reasonably, and to get it
Yeah, he
whittled
had to be
down to
making a lot.
4,000 is insane.
Yeah. Yeah. And she probably was like, well, never letting this happen again.
Yeah. So Rob's not really known for much else besides that. I mean, like she likes to say that she like the way that she kind of talks about him and narrates it. She kind of makes it seem like she was his widow or they were very close. They weren't.
Hmm.
He fucking hated her. He married twice after they divorced, and you know that the Kardashian kids and Chris sued his last widow
What?
for money and his cars and everything.
Hey, it
They wanted it. It was theirs, I guess.
was his wife.
And she was already married to Bruce, so everybody
Yeah.
was like,
Oh,
"Why are
that's
you
so
taking her money?"
evil. Oh, that is so evil.
So his widow also claimed his widow and his other ex-wife claimed that Chris ruined their fucking marriage and they drove him to an early grave. Like all that stress went straight to his throat and just gave him cancer.
Just for meddling and like
Yeah,
probably
like
try
the
to turn the
constant
kids against him, I'm
meddling.
sure.
Yeah, and the kids say that they really hated how they were kind of put in the middle. I mean, the older ones did. Kim was like, again, she's very vapid. She doesn't really have much to say about it, but Courtney was the most outspoken about this. She was just like, I hated being put in the middle. And Chris said herself, she was like, but I gave you everything. Like, you were like Cinderella, you had all the nice dresses, and I could give you cars and stuff. And Courtney was just like, I never wanted that. I wanted a normal relationship between my parents.
Yeah, get the fuck out of
And you
here.
not to cheat on my dad.
Well, then the next baby daddy. But actually, do we hate Rob Kardashian? Like,
I think that man, she stressed that man the fuck out. I hate him
yeah,
because
I
he
hate him
preyed
because
on
he,
her because she was
yeah,
so
she's a
young.
kid. Yeah, 17. That's disgusting. So yes, we hate Robert Kardashian. Rest in
I hate
peace.
him for that. That was
Rest in
nasty.
something.
10 years older than her. I mean, he's
Ew.
been in his grave. You know, he hated that Kim was married that one black guy. He hated that. He was not happy about
Right.
that.
Going to like disown her for that.
If he could see his family today,
Oh, girl.
every single one of his grandchildren are black, except
Right. Except for Courtney's kids.
he would be furious.
He would be so pissed. So talking about Bruce Jenner, formerly Bruce Jenner. So Chris and Bruce, let me back up. Let me back up. I'm reading the show notes. You're like, I deeply resent her for picking Caitlyn of all names. Barbara wasn't good enough. Beatrice.
Yeah, it had to be another CK because like I was actually trying to read them out loud to see how they would sound. I was like, I can't.
Yeah, Barbara Jenner would have been nice. Beatrice Jenner. He said you feel like you're reading a Crips adjacent fanfiction.
It was too many scenes.
Oh my God.
Okay. That's so funny. I
So
just see her in person.
one thing also about Caitlyn Jenner today, she, as we've mentioned, she says, when you're talking about Bruce, like say Bruce Jenner, and that's what we're talking about. But also, she told the kids that she wants to be known as Dad, and I think that was very confusing for them because I remember seeing that when they had that episode about her transitioning and stuff, and they were like, "What are we calling you?" She's like, "I still want to be Dad," and they're like, "But why?"
Yeah, she's like, I'm still Dad. Actually, her eldest, I think, what was his name for me? Bert. He was like, yeah, that's my dad. My dad has implants, and she can still kick your ass. And Caitlyn was like, yeah.
Yeah, you know how Caitlyn talks. Yeah. Okay, so Bruce Jenner was born in Westchester County, New York on October 28th, 1949, and transitioned to Caitlyn in 2015. So I wouldn't call her a trans activist because I feel like she really does not give a fuck about trans rights. I think she likes attention, and okay, so when she was Bruce was an Olympian, an athlete on the Wheaties box, and and she is a Fox News Republican, like kind of QAnon type of Republican. And then one time she killed somebody with her car. I think she just ran them over and no one ever talks about it except for South Park did that episode.
I'm going to talk about it. I'm like, there's like a little article everywhere you see, oh, yeah, vehicular homicide. And I'm like, why
Right.
does everyone skip over that? You killed somebody.
Right. And then they just
She,
moved on.
yeah, she's like, anyway, I am Kate.
Right. So Bruce was a failed politician. He tried to run for, what did he try to run for? Was it president?
I think it was some type of congressman. It was something in like
Yeah,
local
governor
government,
something.
and nobody wanted it.
Yeah, he got 1% of the vote, and he was, and she is a really, really shitty dad and a shitty baby daddy. Bruce Jenner had three wives back to back with no breaks. I mean, he was the type of person who just needed to be married. Um, he was married to Christy Crownover for 9 years, and then he was married to Linda Thompson for 5 years. Then he was married to Kris Kardashian. They got married in 1991 and divorced in 2015. So Christy Crownover so when they were married, he told her that he wanted to transition, but he couldn't act on it back then. It was the 80s. Well, I think they were married in 72 and then divorced in 1981. So she said that when he told her, it made her cry for 2 days straight. And Christy, oh, poor wait,
I know. It's just like that's the least of your worries. It's just like
right?
he's told you something devastating. He just told you, well, I want to transition. Like that's not the worst thing in the world.
I think it was like she was just really confused, probably because it wasn't
I
really
mean,
a thing back
fair.
then.
I mean, fair. It's
It's probably
like
scary. Like, what you want to do? What?
you want to what?
It's like
I
if
mean,
it,
it's worse confessions that I think men have told me.
oh, girl, I've heard some things.
Not
Oh,
hurting
so
anybody.
what?
He's not hurting anybody.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just like if Thomas Jefferson was alive today and he could see like two free black women doing a podcast in Black History Month, he would be like, "You're doing what in the what? In the where?" He would
Oh
cry
my
for 2 days
god.
straight.
Where would he make
New,
us
scary.
go? In the attic? That's where he, or like, where did he make
Oh,
old
he
Sally
had
Hemings go?
Sally under the terrace in a room under the terrace. He had to take a tunnel from his room to her room,
That's where we would have to do the podcast.
right? He'd be like, "Get in your tunnel, girls." I don't know how he talked.
I mean,
Um, so Chrissy was a flight attendant and a small-time actress. They do not speak at all, and she actually dead names Caitlyn. She still refers to Caitlyn as Bruce. Linda Thompson, they were married for 5 years. She was a songwriter, actress, and a beauty queen. She dated Elvis, which is interesting because Robert Kardashian dated Priscilla. It was like these Hollywood circles are just so small. um, so Caitlyn also came out to Linda as a trans woman, and Linda was like, no, absolutely not, and left him, and they got a divorce. And then immediately afterwards, he married Kris Jenner, and the marriage ended in 2015. So they had irreconcilable differences. Guess what they were?
that's not funny. There's nothing else you can file that under. That was in their court paperwork.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, the same thing that the other two women left him over was him coming out as a trans woman. I mean, it's a relationship ending thing. Like, so Bruce would notoriously say, I'm a trans woman, but we can stay together. And these women were like, no, I'm not doing that.
But you know what's messed up too? A common theme in this was, and his children, all of his children have said this, even the youngest ones, they were like, oh yeah, we all knew that dad was a woman. He always stated that. So like,
You saw him
we
dressing up,
always,
like cross-dressing at home.
yeah, like all of his wives knew this. And he always said, he was like, well, I really feel like I feel like a woman. I want to transition. And they would just be like, I guess they would just push it in the back of their heads. Like, I just feel like that's like a boomer white woman thing to do.
Right?
I don't care right now.
Yeah. Oh, I need to go spend money and drive my Bentley around. I don't care about your sexuality problems.
And poor Kate was just sitting there like crying. Like, I mean, like, she's a terrible person, but like that one struggle, it made me feel really bad for her because it's just like
Also, though, to
she
be
tried to
fair,
make it work.
it's like I think it is okay if you're in a relationship and that person says they want to change their gender and you're not interested. I mean, I think it's totally fair to be like, this isn't what I signed up for. Actually, I'm gonna go.
That's cool. I get it.
So Bruce and Kris met on a blind date. They both had 4 kids already, and they were basically ignoring them from their previous marriages. So they went out and got married 5 months later. And Bruce was a notoriously shitty father, according to the older kids, the not Kris Jenner kids, because Bruce was absent and neglectful and would rather focus on himself and his own interests rather than the kids. Brody Jenner said that Bruce like doesn't even call him on his birthday. And Bruce blames the ex-wives. And the kids are like, don't blame the ex-wives. Like, they never badmouthed Bruce or prevented contact. He's just that shitty of a father. So, the kids. So, Bruce has, okay, let's start with the first one. So, Bert Jenner, he's the oldest. He was named after the Caitlyn's brother. I'm sorry. Well, yeah, Caitlyn's brother who died in a car accident. And so he was pissed that Bert decided to become a race car driver and just like tried to kill his dreams. And his mom is Christy. And then after Bruce married Kris, he basically was just like, fuck you to Bert and like stop talking to him, but they're okay now. The next kid with Christy is Cassandra Marino. Bruce wasn't even there for Cassandra's birth.
They were getting divorced, and he wasn't like she was giving birth to her, but they were getting divorced, so he wasn't even there.
Oh my God. Yeah, because so he was pissed off at Christy because like getting divorced, so he just wasn't even there for the birth. And honestly, to be fair to Christy, she probably didn't want him there. I wouldn't have. I've been like, I don't
No,
want you in a
it was
hospital
very
because you're gonna
awkward.
get ideas and try to like make some snip happen. I'm trying to have the baby. So they had a very distant relationship until Bruce transitioned to Caitlyn, and now they're okay. Brandon Jenner was born less than a year after Cassandra. So Bruce had Cassandra with Linda Thompson. And Brandon Jenner is a musician. And I think he does music like with his wife. I think I saw some things they had posted. I mean, they're not very famous, but again, Bruce dropped him when he got with Chris. And now they're much closer. I think it's not even just the fact that Bruce probably like transitioned to Caitlyn and is happier now. I think it's also that he divorced Chris and kind of realized that she was a huge barrier in like them having good relationships. The next kid is Brody Jenner. He had Brody with Linda Thompson. Brody was on a bunch of reality TV shows, most notably The Hills, and he was on a he was a guest on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, and he is the one that has the most tumultuous relationship with Bruce because, or with Caitlyn now, because Brody claims that, oh my God, she never paid child support for 10 years. And then it was only $1,500 monthly, like after that 10-year period. And then Brody got married in 2018 and Caitlyn didn't even show up for the wedding. And so he's like, I want to have like the exact opposite kind of relationship. I want to be the opposite kind of father that Bruce was to me. And he's much closer with his stepfather, David Foster. And so the last two that he had with Chris, we know them, Kendall Jenner, Kylie Jenner. Kendall's a Nepo model, and Tequila Schiller. She has that alcohol. It's like 808 or something, 505. What's it called? I don't even know.
I think it's 818. I never see it in bars. I never see it
I
around. I
never
don't
do
want it.
either. I see it in the liquor store, but full. The shelf's full with them because they're not moving.
Who wants that shit?
Who does? She had this like commercial for it where she was like dressed like a little farmer running through the fields looking at agave plants, and everybody's like, "What the fuck are you doing? You're cosplaying?" That's It was
That's
very
gross.
strange.
That sounds very Kendall, though. I think she's
Yeah.
one of my least favorite sisters.
Yeah, because she's lame. She calls herself a daddy's girl, but I don't even think she's like in the top three of his favorite kids. Like, I don't even think Caitlyn likes her. And they had a tense relationship because Caitlyn wrote a tell-all book and talked negatively about the KarJenner family and distanced herself from them. Kylie, she has the makeup line, the clothing, whatever her mom tells her to do. She says she talks to Caitlyn daily, and she is probably his favorite. And he says Kylie is an exception to the rule. He never. What does that even mean? The rule of your kids not fucking with you?
No, that's literally exactly where that quote is from. It's really fucked up. Like when
That's
he was asked about his
terrible.
children, he said, Kylie is an exception to the rule. Kylie is like where all of my stars align. And I was like, if my dad said that and I was the
That's
other
so
kid, I
mean.
think I would just be like, okay, that's it for me.
Right. And so Kylie being the youngest one, she never experienced him like abandoning her, freezing her out, choosing another woman over her. Like, so of course they would have a good relationship. And despite literally raising the Kardashian stepkids that Caitlyn had with Chris, like since they were children, he's very, very cold with them. She doesn't speak with them after she left Chris. And her tell-all book about her own children solidified the rift between them. Chris and Caitlyn do not speak. Caitlyn is currently single, and Chris now dates Corey Gamble, who she had been with since 2014. And he's actually the same age as Kim Kardashian. And so when Chris and Caitlyn got divorced, Chris had to pay Caitlyn 2.5 million in their divorce as an equalization payment. They had no prenup. She should have learned from her first mistake.
She never. I don't think she. I think she just like does stuff of the moment when it comes to relationships. Very unwise of her. Wouldn't expect
Yeah,
that from
because
her.
her relationship with Corey Gamble seems like kind of fake. I think she
He's
just,
just there.
yeah, I think she just wants to seem more normal than she is and just has a dude like running around. Like he's weird.
She's honestly one of those type of women that just has to have a man around. I think it doesn't
Yeah.
matter who it is, just as long as he's there.
A lot of
Like a
women of that
warm body.
generation are like that. Yeah.
Yeah, just a
And
warm body around.
did you see that Caitlyn Jenner was on Twitter like she was tweeting, didn't I send you that? She was tweeting Elon Musk. And she,
Yeah,
and
I
she was
did.
like,
That's
he was like, if anybody needs help suing people, like, I'm here for you. And she's like, I need to sue Keeping Up with Kardashians because they cut me out of the show. I was part of the cast. That was my income. And everybody's like, bitch, like, you wrote a tell-all book trashing them. They're the producers of their own show. Why would they keep you on to be the villain of the story? Like they have Kanye for that. Like get the fuck out of here.
just lurking in the background with his gum boots on.
Right? His hoodie up, menacing,
With like a giant bouquet of roses, like Kim.
waiting for Kim, a truck full. He's so fucking crazy, dude.
That's
And
kind of sad though.
do we hate um Caitlyn Jenner as a baby daddy?
Yes, as a baby daddy for
Yes,
sure.
so
And as a
much.
person, they kind of suck. She
I think
sucks.
the worst. I don't know who's worse. I mean, they're all terrible.
Caitlyn.
We've talked about Chris in detail. We talked about Rob being like a pedo creeper. We talked about Caitlyn. I think that's a tough one. Maybe we should make that a poll for this episode and see what the listeners think.
I mean, let's see. I would say, hmm, I would say Caitlyn, because like nothing would keep me from my children, and I wouldn't just keep
That's
making
a
more broken
good
homes.
point.
He kept making broken homes. Like even like if I was like confused, like he was never confused about his sexuality. That's what he said. He was like, I'm never confused about my sexuality. I was confused about my gender
Right.
identity. But if I was like confused about my identity, I wouldn't keep making children and bringing them into the confusion. And that was very selfish of him.
That's a really good point because Rob never abandoned the kids. He just wanted to get as far away from Kris Jenner as possible.
That was fucked up. I mean, like she was banging people in a very dangerous time in the late '80s and early '90s, raw
Right.
dog and random
Raw dog and
people.
randos.
Very dangerous. Yeah, I think Rob had a right to be that pissed.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're right. I agree. Caitlyn, worst.
Oh, and Caitlyn killed somebody. We're not ignoring that. You killed somebody.
Right about that. See, it's
We
like what
forget
kind
about
of
it.
magic? What
It's
kind of
like
magic does
that's
Chris do?
spell. Oh yeah, you're going to forget that Caitlyn vehiculated
Killed.
someone to death.
And I didn't she just keep driving? I mean, I don't know the
Yeah, she
details.
just kept going. It was like boom. Oh wow.
Oh my God, we have to choose which baby mama we'd rather be.
out of all,
Oh
out of all
man.
of them, I
Yeah.
don't know. If I
I
was Chris, my cat would be so tired. I want to be Chris.
your cooter cat?
Yeah, my critter cat would be so tired. She was putting that thing
She
to
probably
work.
it's probably retired now. All that dick.
Mm.
She's 68. That's decades of dick.
We're not slut shaming. She
Yeah,
was
it's
just
not
putting in
slut
work.
shaming.
She was just
Yeah,
putting in work like that was just whew,
she made her whole
day in
she had
and
the whole
day
family
out.
on her back.
I know. And then she was like she was passing the torch. She's like, here, Kim.
Kim grabbed it, ran so far, billions altogether this family has because of that. So,
She
um,
sucked it.
if I had to be one of the baby mamas, good God, I think I would want to be probably Linda Thompson because she just seems like she probably has like a little bit of coins. Plus, she had Brody Jenner and he's got some coins, so he probably takes care of her, Like otherwise, I wouldn't want to be Chris. I think it would just be too stressful.
Yeah, Chris, she still isn't like they still stress her the hell out, and not even that. How I would have how many daughters? No,
It's
like
way
just
too
the
many
one
people.
wears me the hell out.
Yeah, same. Mine's crazy. Love her. Toddlers are wild. Like, I searched that video. She attacked me. She was just kissing me. And I was like, okay, baby. Yeah. And she's like, Mom. I was like, okay, okay, okay. She's
She
attacking
lunged
me.
into submission. Yeah,
Right,
no, she
Mom. I was so shocked that she yelled that. She's never yelled mom at me before.
she knew what
14
she
months
meant, and that's the
old.
scariest part. Like
Just
she's
kissing my
aware.
face all over, slobbering, drooling. And I was like,
Oh, mom, that's so
it
cute.
was very cute, though. I love her.
All right, we gotta rate which baby daddy would you rather have, Caitlyn or Rob?
Girl, that's tough. Which one? Ooh, I mean, it would have to be Rob because he's dead. So
I
I'm
would
just
say
kidding.
Rob. I say Rob. Just don't cheat on him.
Yeah, I mean, they could have had such a happy relationship. He seemed like he cared about the kids, good father. He worked hard. He made a lot of money for the family, like took care of them. And then she just put that cooter cat on everybody who looked at her. She couldn't stop.
I mean, none of the kids said that he was a bad father, and even
Yeah.
she, in retrospect, said that he was a really great dad. She said he wasn't even a bad husband. She always just talks about, I wish I didn't get banged in my friend's closet and made Rob mad.
Oh my God.
She loved that
Somebody
she
had to
didn't do
be a
that
good
to
parent.
OJ. Yeah, she loved that
Huh?
she didn't do that to OJ.
Oh, girl. And you know what's interesting about the OJ thing? Didn't he kill two people that night?
He absolutely did, and he
And
laughs
nobody
about
ever
it.
talks about the other person, the guy. It was
It was
like
a wrong
Nicole
place,
Brown's
wrong time
boyfriend.
for the poor dude. Yeah.
Yeah, and no one ever mentions him. They're always just like, "Oh, he killed Nicole Brown." But okay, but what about the guy? Like, does nobody care?
That was a dark time. That
It
I
really
hope I never
was,
get murdered in California. California has some really shitty laws.
girl. And like when all that stuff was happening with the trial, it was basically a race war following what happened with who's the guy that got beat up
Oh,
by
Rodney King?
yeah. So people were
Yeah,
like
that was a
all
really
mad
tense
about that.
time.
And so they were like, we're not going to convict this black man, but he did that shit.
There goes the LAPD fucking things up for everyone once again.
And then the family, Nicole Brown's family, sued OJ in the civil suit, and he lost that. And so he had to pay them royalties. And so he had written a book, and that's why if you look up the book that he wrote, they took the
If
cover and
I
changed it.
did it.
Yeah, they changed the if, they made the if really small. And all the proceeds from that book goes to her family, which I love that her
I
family was.
did it.
Yeah, just I did it in big bold letters. I'm like, damn, no one will ever forget.
I think people really glaze over the fact that he was extremely abusive to Nicole before this too. Like people
Oh
just
yeah, it
just
beat the
kind of like
piss
don't
out
get
of her, and he was a
like he was
big
beating the
athlete. Yeah,
it's just
and
like,
she
oh,
was just
that's
a
just OJ. No.
right. It's crazy. I mean, it was a history of violence to the point where, I mean, she was constantly calling the police. Eventually, he was going to kill her. There was proof. There was a record. Still got off scot-free, which is horrendous. So let's go on and give these baby daddies some ratings and then get out of here.
All right. So for Caitlyn, number one would be vehicular homicide, and number five would be a box of Wheaties.
And on that scale, I would say she's probably like a 3, which is like a Fox News Republican. Not quite box of Wheaties at this point.
Yeah, I'd say like a three. I mean, she's a terrible fucking person. Then I gotta think of like the age that she grew up in, and gender confusion, but she could have been a much better father. She put her mind to it. So I say like
Oh,
a two.
easily.
There's no excuse. Two.
And it's so easy to be a good dad. It's like you
It's
just
not a
have
lot.
to
They're not
be
asking for
there.
much. You
Right.
just have to be there. You're already making money, so just give them the money and
Right.
call them on
Two
their
steps
birthday.
that they can't follow, these baby daddies.
Yeah, call them
Be
on their
good to the
birthday.
kids.
Party City Skeleton and call her on her birthday twice. I'm like, that's the least you can do.
She's only 3, so it's
I'm
2
like, that
birthdays. You
was that
just
too much for you?
oh
Oh,
my
what
God,
was
I don't want to
too
fight
much?
him.
He's so fucking stupid. Anyway,
Let Let's rate
Rob.
Rob.
Rob. His scale 1 is an ill-fitting leather glove, and 5 are his tear-stained diaries documenting Chris's infidelity.
If the glove don't fit, you must quit. I think he is a tear stained diary. Talking about my wife cheating on me in my bed. My kids were there, just crying and writing.
Courtney shaking with rage in the corner. Mom, how
Writing in
dare
the
you?
journal.
I say he's like a 4. He should have creeped on her when she was so young.
Yeah,
He could have did better.
absolutely.
You know, he was messing with his third cousin. I mean, that's kind of like not a
What?
big deal. He's Armenian. I think that's kind of like a thing over there.
He was doing that here?
Yeah,
That explains so much. Because you know how all the Kardashian kids don't talk to his side of that side of the family.
I think that's one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons.
Yikes. Ew. Ew. Yeah, I saw this video. This guy was going around asking, I don't know where it was. I want to say it was like in the UAE or something, going around asking people. He was like, is it cool or is it weird to marry your cousin? And he's asking him, is it halal or haram? And the guys were like, halal. And one guy in the whole video was like, haram. Like, I'm not gonna marry my
Oh
cousin.
my God.
But everybody else was like, no, that's what we do. It's fine. It's halal. Keep it in the
That's a
family.
thing. Yeah, that's a thing. I can't even like fault him. I mean, like, definitely don't do that now. Like, there's way too many crossing of genes now. Like, somebody's gonna come out with like a
Yeah.
second nose, but I don't know. If that's what you're gonna do, that's what you're gonna do. Don't.
Don't bring the shit here.
Yeah, that's what you want to do.
So, listeners, that was part one. Stay tuned. Next week, we're going to do part two. The clan. Not that clan. The other
Yes,
clan.
the
The
clan with a
Kardashian.
K. I hope they can post that on Spotify and they won't take it down. You think
Oh,
they
they probably
will?
will take it down. They probably
Okay.
will. Surprised that they haven't canceled us yet. Like I thought when we did the last episode, because I put the CCP, I thought they were gonna be like, oh, China. Like, nobody wants beef with
China.
China.
Oh, I was literally just quoting Donald Trump. I have no strong
I
feelings.
know, no, but I'm talking about in the poll how I
Oh,
put that I
China.
mentioned
Oh
them.
yeah,
So I'm like their senses were tingling. They're gonna find us.
they're gonna get mad.
Um, so before we get out of here, where can our listeners find us on social media?
You can find us on WHY Baby Daddy Pod on Instagram, X, and I forget
Instagram, X, TikTok,
TikTok,
and Facebook. We Hate Your Baby Daddy
Facebook now.
podcast. Yep.
Oh, and YouTube.
Oh
If that's where you want to stream
yeah,
us.
on YouTube. Yeah, we need to. I need to actually post some videos on there because if you go there, the podcast is there, but it's just the audio.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
I'll figure that out.
we're here.
Yeah,
Yeah, it takes a minute.
and if you got this far in this part one episode of the KarJenner Baby Daddies, leave a review. Click the 5 stars. Click it. Click it. Wherever you're listening on, especially if you're on Apple Podcasts, click that 5 stars. Leave us a nice little review that we can read. That'll make us smile. It'll make our little hearts warm up. Our cold, dead mom hearts. So warm right now.
Please, we need it. Like I had to stop
We
like 20
need the
times because my daughter
dopamine.
was. Yeah.
We need the serotonin. All right. So that's our episode. Thanks for listening. See you next week when we do part two. Bye.